Well, this year's legislative session wrapped up in March, and voters were certainly watching to see what lawmakers in Jackson did or didn't do. Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann is joining us tonight in the studio. Thanks so much for being here.
It's good to see you again. It's good to be back.
You got a forum coming up in West Point tonight, so we're glad you dropped by to see us.
I'm glad to see you and looking forward to meeting with our Republican women tonight.
Let's jump right into some things that happened during the legislative session. And one of the points that we hear every single session is fully funding MAEP. And although that didn't happen, more money was allocated to education. Talk about that. Yes,
we started pretty methodically, really. We started 2 years ago with a $1,000 pay raise for teachers. Then last year it was a $5,000 on average pay raise for teachers. And then this year we put $100 million more in education based on student population. So over that gap period, we probably have devoted almost $400 million more to funding education in Mississippi, and that's not part of that MAEP formula. So we had to kind of work outside the formula in order to get the funds to our educators, and that's the most precious thing we have is a child's brain, and we're all committed to making sure that works well. So last year, the MAEP formula was rejected by the House, and so we proposed to fund it, and they proposed not to. The full funding would have been about $181 million under the old formula, under a new formula that we had proposed. We ended up with $100 million, which is a pretty significant contribution to education. But I expect we'll be back looking at the formula again next year.
Because you still had a lot of lawmakers who were disappointed for not getting the full funding. What's it going to take to get it fully funded?
Well, it's just like everything else. It took a while to get voter ID or postpartum or all the things that the ship of state sometimes doesn't move as quickly. We got $100 million out of $181 million last year. I expect us to work on the formula, and I'm looking forward to funding education. We have a lot of positives in education going on. We have semester systems going on around Mississippi where kids go Corinth started this, 9 weeks on and 3 weeks off. Those intersession periods, the kids are coming back to school, they're in a safe learning environment.
Right.
There's a lot of positive things happening.
Another issue that a lot of voters were concerned about was getting the ballot initiative back in the hands of voters to be able to get an issue on the ballot.
Right.
The legislature did not do that again this time. So what's that?
I don't know whether the legislature did. The Senate passed it.
Well, the Senate did pass it, but so what's it going to take to get everybody to agree on it?
The House of Representatives.
There's a gap there in the number of signatures seems to be the holdup on everything.
Right. We proposed a couple of changes to it. The right to work law would stay in, which is very, of course, very helpful for the aluminum factory and all this coming here in the Golden Triangle. We proposed that you couldn't have abortion and be part of the Constitution. We proposed that, and the House did as well. I give them credit for that, certainly. So we went into that, and we were apart on the actual number of voters. I think the Senate was about in the 150 to 160,000 range, and the House was about 105 or 110,000.
I suspect it's going to come up again in 2024.
Oh, of course, and
no doubt.
I support the ballot initiative. I don't want us to be like California and have Proposition 56 or whatever. I don't think that's appropriate. And we do have elections every 4 years, and so I'm hopeful we'll have a ballot initiative that'll be meaningful, and also one that when the proposal from the Senate was 8% of the total registered voters. So that means 92% of the people didn't sign the petition. So I think we're getting close. I'm hopeful next year.
It's an issue important to voters for sure. And finally, I can't let you come to this area and not talk about the devastation we've seen in Amory. You've been on the ground there.
Right. I was with the mayor a week ago. We spent a long time going through, the whole city was devastated, all of their public works and everything, and then meeting with people that were going to rebuild and houses and just talking to people. They like to have somebody on go. But I was also pretty impressed. The mayor has a tremendous economic development package going on the Tom Bibby, which runs right by here. I'm very hopeful. We had some very good discussions about what they need to have that come to fruition, which starts, the build them back process has already started there. Sure. We're just a big neighborhood in Mississippi. It'd be Smithville or
we're all neighbors.
Amory. It's all neighbors. And so I anticipate an active build back by Amory, and I expect some economic development things to come out of that.
Well, they sure have a long road ahead of them. We appreciate your dropping by to see us. I think we'll have a crew over to see you a little bit later on tonight in West Point.
We're looking forward to seeing you.
Fantastic. Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann joining us. We're going to turn it over to Ashley now for a first look.